Test one, test moo. Test one, test moo. Channel one, channel moo. How's it going out there, folks? Back with another stream. Just starting off with some silly sounds from the LFO deep dive. But I had a new idea today, and whenever I have a new idea, I want to act quickly to put it into place, and that's what we're going to do today. So let's start with this little bombshell. Not only are we, I say we because I mean we, because I can't do this without all of you out there. It's true. It's really true. I wouldn't do it if people weren't watching it. I would have given up by now. What we are going to do here today is start on the second Father Moo album that we're producing in this stream. That's right, you heard me right. So the first album, which is in production, is based around Berlin School tracks, and it's also based around ambient compositions. And those are great. Those are cool styles to have to mix together. I think I mentioned very early in the stream that I've recently been influenced by a group called Carbon-Based Lifeforms, who make Berlin School meets chill out music, I guess you could call it. And the stuff you've heard in the stream hasn't been very chill out because I don't have any break beats to play because the Nord doesn't have a sampler, but it has a drum machine, and the drum beats are pretty similar, to be honest. So while that is getting dubbed down and getting created and getting worked on, in the stream here, where we are still building new patches, I wanted to just go in a completely new direction, or mostly new direction. And I can tell you that the next album, the next genre we're going to be moving into now, is minimal dub. That's right. So dub from dub reggae, as you probably know, is based around heavy bass lines and drum patterns. You'll hear some of the guitars or keyboards of reggae appear in an echo chamber and echo for a bit and then disappear again. But at its core, dub is based around the bass and the drums. You might hear snippets of vocals or other sound effects, but they tend to be less. They tend to show up and then echo and then disappear, while the bass and the drums are pretty much always there. And dub, of course, have had a major effect on modern electronic music and dance music as a whole. We're not going to go too far down that rabbit hole. But what I am going to say is today I want to build not a hard and fast template, but a starting point for other dub tracks that I will be producing in this stream. So whereas usually I start from nothing, and we've got nothing on the screen right now, some of the future dub tracks will start from the template just because those pieces are the core pieces of dub that we want to base the music around. So being repetitive is not the goal, but in some ways we're going to use some of the same elements, so we may as well map it out. So that's what I'm going to do today, is build a dub machine template. And with that in mind, let's I actually have to go back to a previous patch and find one of the starting points just so I get all my ducks in a row here, get everything set up properly. So let me browse for a moment until I find where those, what starting point I want to use. Let's see here. Is it this one? No. I know it's not this one because this one is based on the clock gen at the top. What we want is to use the MIDI global out. So that's what I'm looking for in this patch that I'm hunting for here. This is East Berlin. Let's try Could it be this one? Nope. Clock gen still. Let's keep browsing here. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Definitely not those. Could it be this? Nope. Maybe I should be starting earlier in my hunt. Nope. Clock gen. Could it be this guy? Okay, this will work. Great. As you can see up here, we have MIDI global. We have the clock divider fixed. We have the event sequencers, and we have the note sequencers. Then we have the logic processors down here. So I want most of this. I'll get rid of that. And I'll get rid of this. And I'll get rid of this other pattern generator who showed up for some reason. And I don't need any of the voicing information right now. I'll keep the logic processors together. I remember they're part of the deal here. And yeah. So let's clear these patterns just so we don't repeat ourselves. And while we're at it, let's go into the synth settings. We're going to use internal clock. 72 is a nice tempo. It's a bit slow. I'm going to go for 80 as a good dub tempo to start with. And yeah, we've got these four at 32. And remember, they're in looping mode. And we've got these four at 16 steps, and they're in non-looping mode. You know what? I guess I'm not going to need... Right. Okay. I'm just going to use... I'm going to start here. So one folder I wanted to start for myself was templates. So what am I going to call this one? What is this template? This is dual 32 step seek for sequencer. And that seems correct as a name. But I'm just grabbing that and putting that there. Let me go ahead and arrange things. So I mentioned the bass line being an important part of what we're doing. The main reason I'm stealing this today, wholesale, is because I want to have a long, complex sequence for my bass lines. I want to have that stretching as long as I can. And in fact, I think what I'm going to do here is rearrange these not as a dual melodic sequence, but as a single, extremely long melodic sequence. And I'm going to see if I can get that right. Of course, you can see the little green lights following each other in time, which is a very good sign. We're absolutely going to need to rely on that. I don't know exactly how the logic processing is going to work, but I think I'm going to rebuild that later. So let's just kill that for now. And I can also tell you these first two are correct, or they're a good starting point, but these third and fourth need to be totally rewired. Okay. So look here how we have the clock going in here, and then we have the link out going into reset of this guy. So first thing I know, looks like I forgot to clear that bad boy. Oh well. The first thing I know is that this 32 steps is going to have to become 64. This is a much longer sequence, twice as long as the original. And those 64 steps can continue to be in loop mode. They will play the first 16, and they will send the signal to the next one to each do their part. So here we have link out to reset in. I believe these three don't need to change. This guy needs to look like his friends beside him and have 16 steps and no looping. But I think if I send this link out to this reset in, when he hits the end of his process, he will start. And then when he hits the end of his process, he will start. So they can all share the same clock. And if we're lucky, we'll start seeing this one hit the end, and then this guy go, and then this guy go. It's not perfectly set up yet, but it'll get there. And yeah, there's no reset here. The same thing should happen. Link out of here into reset in. He's got a clock. Give him a clock. And he's still got a clock. This guy needs to go down to 16 steps as well. And have his looping turned off. And then the link out of here is into reset. And this one is already set up. Good, great, awesome. So I'm following that little light. He's going along like that. And he appears there. And then the next one should go, there we go, it's working, great. I don't know why this guy isn't giving me any love down here. Oh, he's just out of sync. Let's see if we can start them all again. There, the two lights are going together. Still going. Come on, buddies. There they go. And there we go. So we just made a 64-step sequencer with 64 notes, 16 times 4, and 64 events if you use only the top channel. I'm sure we'll find a use for the bottom channel in other dub applications. And it seems to be working, so let's save this as, I'm going to put this in the templates as single 64-step seek, which is what it is. Great. So this is also going to be the starting point for our dub machine. So let's keep going on that. I know we don't have any sounds coming out, but just bear with me here. Let's take a moment to talk about the structure of the Nord Modular. We have two outputs, and I don't have a photo to show you on screen, but there are two hardware outputs in the Nord Modular as well. They both output a guitar-sized patch cable, and most of the time you've seen me do this for our sessions, which is take a mixer and then patch the same content to the left and the right. Why do I do this? Mainly because you, my loyal fan base, are hearing only one channel of mono when there's anything playing, which nothing is currently playing. That's because my sound card is kind of limited and doesn't have a stereo input. I mean, I could send it stereo, but then you wouldn't hear my annoying voice all the time, and that would be a tragedy. So why do I bring this up? Because when I'm making dub, I'm not going to use these as two stereo outputs, but as I'm not going to use these as one stereo output. I'm going to use them as two mono outputs. And why is that important? Because in order to support this stream, I'm going to mix everything to mono so you hear everything. But in reality, there will be two channels. So I'm building this with reusability in mind. And Lord knows, I think you're going to see me reuse this a lot. So with that in mind, I'm just going to label these two 8-channel mixers. I don't know if we'll get up to 8 voices, but I'm going to build the machine the way I think it's going to be most reusable. And then if we get up to like 99% on the load, I'll cut out some mixers as needed. So this is going to be called mono mixer. And I'll just label this live streaming audio, which is what it is. Oh, we ran out of space. How about streaming audio? No. How about live stream? That keeps it exciting. There we go. And this one is going to be called left comp channel. And it doesn't fit, but it's fine. This one will be called, here we go. Come on, buddy. Stupid editing software. Right echo channel. It's fine. It's still good enough. So why did I call them that? Although they're called left and right, they really are 1 and 2. They're not going to be left and right in stereo. And the left channel is going to have a compressor on it. It is going to be the channel that has bass lines. It's going to have kick drums. It might have snare or hi-hat stuff as well. But let's call it left comp. The point is that this compressor is going to mush together the bass line and the kick drum in a way which in dub is a good thing. It's also going to limit and protect the channel from overheating signal-wise by smushing the signal down and smoothing it out, evening it out. So anytime I want to make a bass line, such as a bass line controlled by this massive sequencer, or a kick drum, or certain other percussive elements that don't have echo on them, they will go into left channel mixer and then into the compressor, and then in quote-unquote real life, they would go into the left output. If I was recording this for the purposes of streaming, they will go into the mono mixer. Let's call it the stream mixer. Yeah, that's a better name. I don't know why I care about this. Probably because it's going to repeat a lot of times and we'll see them. I'm a strange man. I can admit that on my stream. Live audio. Sounds like an old sound card. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, how about this? The right echo channel, well, there's no echo in the Nord Micro Modular, but I fully intend to run the second output into an echo or delay pedal and then send that into my recording device. So internally in the Nord, the effects unit for the left channel will be the compressor to smush everything, to smooth things out. And for dub ear effects, which the limitations of the Nord means there's never going to be any delay, any significant digital delay I can make inside it. So I'm going to use external processing for that purpose. That's why I've gone to the trouble of explaining and building this little mixer here. And I'll probably have to break my rules for where the other modules go, just because the sequencer is so big. But I want the sequencer to be left to right like this so I can see what it's doing, have it all lined up. And when I adjust a step here, I can adjust a step here. It's easier than having two of them vertically. It won't help my brain. So we're getting pretty close to calling this the dub template. But let's put in a few more elements before we stop and do that. So we still have single 64-step sequence, but I'm not going to hit save just yet. Okay, here we go. Still keep on trucking. So what I'm doing right now is building the voice for my remaining parts. I think I can go ahead and do this. What if I take... That's already the wrong one. What if I take drum sound synthesizer, the big drum guy? It's not going to fit there. Maybe he can fit here. There's 3 of those. And now you can see we've jumped up to 64% in our inputs. That's okay to start with. Let's put each of these in their first preset. Kick 1, snare 1, and cymbal 1. Gonna extend that a little bit. And then I can go ahead and patch those into channels 2, channel 3, and channel 4 of the compressor channel. These are pretty safe bets. I can tell in advance that I'm going to have my bass line, I'm going to have my drum synths, and then for this template, I think 3 is a reasonable number to start with. I could go for more, but and I'm sure in the real world, I'll end up swapping in more or less of these modules as needed, but 3 is a reasonable starting point for the minimum building blocks of dub, so let's go with that. Over here, let's build our bassline voice. I'm inclined to say oscillator B, because I don't think I'll need the sync input, and I'm going to back him up with another oscillator, a sine wave oscillator. So I'm going to use this as my master and this is my slave. That's great. This guy is tuned to E4. I think for the purposes of dubbing, we can take him down to E3 and make this guy an octave below. So two of these should be enough. Another default that I'm probably going to use is the triangle. I like all the waves for dub, but for the truly deep, smooth bass lines, I think a triangle into the classic LP filter is going to be the way to go. And I guess I'm going to need a little submixer here. Oh no, wait a minute. Oh no, those aren't inputs. I was almost going to run the oscillators into these 2 quote-unquote inputs, but these are not inputs. Let's just take a moment to look at the other filter. Does he give us 2 audio inputs? No, those are for modulation, same deal. So we would still need a mixer anyway. Let's make sure we're using the best one. 3 inputs is 89%. This is actually more. 2 in to 1 out fader is cheaper. Let's see what we can... Yeah, that looks better. Great, cool. So I haven't used that in a while, but I'll take it. I saved a tiny amount of percentage of my processing power, but we're already at 82, so I'll take what I can get. So oscillator 1 goes into this. Oscillator 2 goes into this. And then I can vary their amount. I'm going to assume I'm going to have a little bit more oscillator 1, so I'm going to lean to the left. If I need more of number 2, I just fade it to the right. That becomes the output feeding into here. I'm almost hesitant to do that. Should I? No, I shouldn't. Let's try that again. That would be allowing the sine wave to be filtered by this, but I don't want that to happen because sine waves and filters are not friends. Most of the time, if you send a sine wave to a filter, it'll do nothing, but in the small amount of time that it would do something, I won't be happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and send oscillator B to this filter first, and then send the second oscillator directly into the little mixer that I have here. So you can see that whole process. And I guess I started building it over here. Let's get in there. We're going to use the AD envelope. I think it'll serve our purposes for this. Oh, and of course, we have the gating issue. So now we get to play an interesting, silly little game called Let's Sum Up a Whole Bunch of Gates. Remember I deleted the logic processors? Well, they're coming back. Where are you, logic processor? There you are. Okay. I think I'm going to need all of these. So 1 and 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5, 6, and I guess I don't need this guy. Delete. They can just barely fit. We're going to set them all to OR. So let me just explain what I'm doing. I have these 4 event sequencers, which are going to be, their job is to, whenever they are pressed down like this, they should trigger the envelope for the baseline. But I've got 4 gate outputs and only 1 gate input. So I took 3 logic circuits, set them all to OR, which means only one of the 2 inputs has to have a signal in order for them to create an output. I put channels 1 and 2 of the sequencer in here. I put 3 and 4 in here. And then I put all of them into here. And they won't step on each other's toes because each of them is separated in time. But it's still a necessary step. And they'll plug into the gate here. So now that's pretty much it. Just for the sake of keeping my beloved audience awake, I'm going to trigger some gates here in the first sequencer. I was supposed to hear something then. In order to hear something, I would have to plug the baseline into the mixer, which I will do now. Wait for it to come around, and... Nope, I should have definitely heard something then, and I didn't. Why not? Left in, left out, left, what did I do wrong here, folks? I do not know what I'm doing wrong. I can see the gate triggering. Maybe it's just really quiet. Maybe my filter is up too... is too extreme. There it is. Okay, great. So we heard a few notes there. So this entire circuit here on the left is now my bass line. The one in the middle is my drum line. I guess I can just drop them over here. And I'm left with only a measly 15% of my processing power to do anything else I want to do. Just for the sake of... Oh, shoot. I guess I'm going to have to do this same thing here as well. So if I wanted to use the second channel to control... Yeah, okay, let's do it. I think I'm going to go back and put these guys back here again. I'm just going to copy these. And take the same outputs. There's second channel 1, second channel 2, second channel 3, and second channel 4. And I'm going to put a kick on the 9, which is a classic reggae hit. And you'll get a kick drum there. Oops, this needs to be hooked up. Yep. It doesn't sound like reggae, but that's the mechanism we're going to need in order to make use of the second channel of the sequencer. As for these guys, we can sequence them later with pattern generators or with their own event sequencers, depending on how we want to do it. And we can also make other sounds. We may have enough voice left for a second melodic synth, which could go into the echo chamber channel. But yeah, so this is pretty much it. I'm going to just clear out the notes out of the sequencers, but all the wiring is correct. So I'm going to go ahead and save this bad boy, save as. He is, should I put him in templates? I don't think so. I think I'm going to put him in the streaming patch archive and call him number 67, minimal dub. I wonder if that's going to fit. Let's see. Let's try it. Minimal dub gen. Yep, because he's a dub generator. And yeah, although we're closing without any actual music, you did hear the sounds here. And trust me, I did this for a reason. I did this because I plan to use this as my starting point. And although it's set up to do a very musically, quote unquote, normal type of pattern, I'm going to try and get in weirder things. I'm going to try and change all of these from 16 steppers to 12 steppers and do some swung content. I'm going to try and create a variety of minimal bass lines where a lot of the melodic work is being done by the bass, and leave the other pieces of the composition to be sort of minimal background elements. But this is what I came to do today, and I'm quite happy with the final result. So the only thing I will say, I wish I had a bit more processing power left, but I'm not giving up so easily. A lot of these things had to happen. The logic processes may not seem fun, but they're needed to do their job. So yeah, there's no getting around it. I think with careful programming, we'll be able to take this 85 to 99 to make a variety of different minimal dub beats in the future. So yeah. So that's about it for me today. Thank you so much for joining us. As I said, going in a new direction, something I hope will keep people's interest. Whenever I see the videos with the most views, they always seem to be the ones where I did something truly new and different, at least within the context of my own channel. So I'm going to keep that up. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Maybe not the most musical output today, but trust me, it's gonna pay for itself in some future streams. So we'll see you next time in one of the other playlists on this channel. Thank you so much for tuning into Father Moo. It's been a wonderful Sunday. Hope you and yours are safe and happy. Peace.